Hi, I'm Dr. Damon Kimes. I graduated from the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, and I graduated with degrees in chemistry and psychology. Went on to Mariah Medical College at HBCU. I met my wife there to pursue my medical degree. We graduated. I initially pursued family medicine. Went to UT Healthplex or UT Memphis and went to their program. It was a great program. We spent some good times in Memphis. It was a rigorous program with a lot of what we would call expanded family medicine because we did everything. Colonoscopies, EGDs, just everything. All right, after UT Healthplex, I wasn't quite sure that I would be able to achieve all of my goals in family medicine. So I decided to pursue emergency medicine. So we spoke about it. I really spoke about it with my family, friends, everyone. It was a big decision because you finish one residency so that you can just go out and work. No one talked about a second residency, but I felt that if I did emergency medicine, I'd have more time for my family. I'd be able to earn a good income and then have time to do some other things I'd been wanting to do.
So why did you move from emergency medicine to pain management?
The hours.
Okay.
I got tired of staying up all night. I got tired of working weekends. You know, you can imagine as a family man, you're leaving, especially if you're doing a night shift, you're leaving like around 5 o'clock or 4 or something to go to 7 p.m. shift, and you're gone all night. So most of the earlier part of the day, you're trying not to use too much energy so you can be strong and stay up all night and work all night.
Did it not have anything to do with you not being able to set your own schedule, but not only that, you weren't your own boss? Because you were saying like that nurses and other people, business people, were over the doctor and they didn't know the medical attributes or...
Yeah, there was a lot. It was a lot. Sometimes someone who would be your supervisor within the hospital would be someone who did not have your credentials. I think that's a management issue. But I got tired of someone else, controlling my destiny. I didn't want to work when someone told me I needed to work. I didn't want to work on holidays because we had to kind of figure out which holiday we were going to cover. I didn't want to do that anymore. And there was no upward mobility. I'd moved up the ladder to medical director and I'd interviewed and considered some area director jobs, but it wasn't really much else you could do other than supervising more and more physicians. So I decided to do my own thing. I wanted to, I didn't really plan on pain being that thing. I just knew that I needed to invest in something else so I could step out of the ER eventually. So I opened up a pain office on faith. I wasn't trained in pain initially, didn't know a whole lot about it, but I knew it was a steady medical specialty that seemed to be growing as our aging population was growing. So I went into pain. I hired an anesthesiologist and a physical medicine physician, and they went to work, and I went to work to make the money to pay for the practice and pay them and to market. And that's what I did. And ultimately I decided I have to go back to school.
So what other credentials do you have? You have family medicine.
Family medicine, board certified in family medicine, emergency medicine, which I ended up leaving and going to Emory here in Atlanta and doing emergency medicine. Once I got out and opened up my own practice, I knew, well, actually once I started working in the practice, I knew that opioid addiction would be an issue. So with addiction, I went back, I got that. I really just got it to use within my practice so I could better care for patients that had opioid addictions. And it turned into more because a friend of mine that owned a business asked me to be their medical director for an addiction IOP or intensive outpatient program for people that are transitioning maybe from an inpatient program and they're not yet quite ready to get out and function in society without having meetings and some sort of intensive program. So I got involved with that, and I do that throughout the month as well. Pain and personal injury go together like chiropractic care goes together with personal injury. I didn't know a lot about personal injury. I was approached, I believe, by a young lawyer that said, "Hey, are you doing any personal injury?" And I said, "No, I didn't really know too much about it. But I knew the procedures, I knew things, I knew the medical side. I just didn't know about the business or or specialty of personal injury. I've gotten really into it now because I like to see people who have been injured be able to get to a healing place quickly. Most of our chronic pain patients are chronic pain patients. They've been injured and the pain or the injury complications just didn't really go away. So it's nice sometimes to have someone that has a short-term injury.
So what is your biggest success, would you say?
Being a husband and a father and a good son. Those are my greatest successes, and a good grandson. As far as being a husband, I always wanted to be a husband. I always wanted to be a leader. I always wanted to be a good man because I didn't have the father figure. I had a strong man in my grandfather and I had a strong man in my uncle, but I didn't have a dad figure. You know, my dad was in another country, in Barbados. So that was important. I remember having a conversation with one of my best friends, Conway, when we were 8 years old about being a father and about being a husband. So that was important. When we had our little son, Damon, our first child, that was one of the greatest days of my life. Of course I was sleepy because we were up all day, but every time they brought him in for you to feed him, I was up looking at him because I couldn't believe I was a dad.
So what motivates you?
You know, I don't like to be restricted. I don't like, you know, and a lot of young black men will agree with this. I came from New Jersey. There's a public school system. I did well in school, but there was attempts to hold me back. When I was going to go from regular classes to AP classes or honors classes, some of the teachers refused to give me the recommendation, even though I had good grades in their class. That angered me. And any obstacle where someone told me I couldn't do it or they were trying to stand in my way, I had teachers that I thought were really liked me as a student. And when it came time to write recommendations for college, some of them refused.
So you're thinking it was a racial barrier there?
I'm sure it was, but that motivated me because I knew I had to go for it and do it myself. And so I did. I'm motivated because for love. I think I said it in the past, different times we've talked to people. My motivation is really love. If at first it was just, I didn't, I wanted to make sure that I didn't grow up in poverty, because there was times when I was younger that we were. I mean, we were always happy and we were never having poverty in terms of love, but now I'm motivated because I want to accomplish and do the most I can for my children and for you.
So do you think not having a father in your life, your biological father there with you, do you think that made you work harder, or do you resent that factor?
I don't resent it. When my dad said that he apologized for not being there, that ended it. I forgave him at that moment, and that was ended at. So I don't hold anything against him. But yes, it did motivate me to be the best dad I can be. So if that meant working 2 or 3 jobs, I've done that. If that meant studying all night, I've done that. Whatever it meant. If it meant even after I'm tired, after doing the shift or something, and the kids need me to do something else, I'm going to do it because that's what being a father is. I'm just motivated because I think God gives us talents, and we should take them all and use them all and take them as far as we can.
And so your biggest success is your family, your children. That's what you're saying. So what is your biggest failure?
In 2016, the practice was not doing as well because I let some of the core things that we would do slip a little bit. And I started focusing on things, just getting the job done instead of looking at the business as a whole. And once I realized I'd let some things go that were good revenue streams for the practice, I realized you have to do it all. And you got to use your staff and your team so that it isn't all on you. Because if you're a single doctor practice or multiple physician practice, sometimes because we're perfectionists, we want to do everything or we try to do everything. And I'm still guilty of that. But I learned how to use my team effectively. And I think that was one of my biggest failures, is just not using the team so that I can have a global picture of the practice.
So basically what I get out of it is you think like a doctor, or you did think like a doctor.
No, that's a put down. No, I mean,
is that a put down?
Yeah, because people say that a lot, like the doctors
Y'all do.
are good. Yeah, but a new generation's coming, because it has to. Doctor just can't be a doctor anymore. You should be able, as a doctor, to be able to go in, take great care of patients, focus on only the patient care, and your dedication to patient care should pay you enough to send your kids to college, have a nice house. But the reality is, in order to achieve incredible success in medicine, you've got to become a business person.
This segment, and I'm so happy to be a part of this docu-series that I was asked to be a part of, called Building of a Mogul, and I just wanted to talk to my husband to see what his thought processes were in building of a mogul and being a power couple. My name is Dr. Heavenly Kimes, and I very rarely talk about my business successes, and I think that I owe this man a whole lot. People never ask me, but I graduated from Florida A&M University with honors, and I matriculated through Meharry Medical College, where I graduated at the top of my class in dentistry, a doctorate in dental surgery. I met my husband, my life partner, and I think that I can safely say, I can confidently say I owe a lot of my success to my husband. When I got out of school, I had bad credit, like so many other people. They gave me a credit card, American Express, and I ran it up, and I did everything. And plus, I had a lot of student loans. Both of us did. I had a lot of student loans, but I always wanted my own practice, but my credit was bad. I don't know how you kept your credit good. So he had good credit, you know what I mean?
I only bought stuff.
Yeah, he didn't buy stuff, but I had some nice stuff. But anyway, I put it on a card, but then couldn't pay for it. So when it came to time when I graduated and I wanted to purchase my own practice, my credit wasn't good, and Damon had to co-sign, I think for almost $400,000. And he did it. And I was like, okay, baby.
But I wasn't worried.
No. And my whole thing is, he was my husband, so we're one. So I didn't mind him signing, but I felt like I need to make this work, because at that time, during that time, $400,000 was a lot of money to us. You know what I mean? We were already $1 million in debt for student loans, or $600,000 in debt. So right there, as at 27 years old, we were already over $1 million in debt. So, I worked hard. I had kids. I prioritized. I didn't have really fun. When I opened my first practice, I took every insurance there was. I took Medicaid, HMOs, I took the PPOs, all of that. And I built my practice. And I know that I wasn't ever scared to build businesses, because I always felt like Dr. Damon was my rock. My husband was my rock. So I never worried about what if. And I've always been a person that I felt like if you speak things into existence, you can make anything happen. So from there, I opened 9 dental practices with the help of my husband. I sold 7 successful dental practices, but I have to talk about failures, because 2 of them I could not get up and running. One of them was just a bad area. I mean, location. And then the other one, I think, was a bad area too, because I couldn't find any doctors that wanted to work in the inner city. They had hoes walking down the street. I hate to put it like that, but nobody wanted to work there because of the area, but it was a good Medicaid practice. From there, I always wanted to have, more knowledge. So I got my real estate license. I bought and sold over 14 properties, flipped them. And I've had failures with that as well. One property I bought and I paid cash for, and as soon as we purchased it, the roof fell in. And I didn't know, but that's a hell of a lesson, that I didn't have the insurance take over in a timely fashion. I was getting insurance. I was in the process of getting insurance, but I didn't have insurance, so I was not covered for that commercial property. Between that, we bought and sold 14 properties, mostly residential. And one thing I've learned in residential properties is people are renting because their credit ain't good. You know what I mean? So it's difficult if you don't have a very good property manager. Renting out properties may not be the thing you want to do. I mean, you running after people for their rent, they mad at you because they got to pay, and the mortgages don't stop. From there, I got my Series 65, my insurance license.
What is a Series 65?
Series 65 is so we can, financial planner, so we can buy and sell annuities. And my insurance license, so I could basically buy and sell life insurance, any kind of insurance. And we owned a mortgage company. Now that's another one of my failures, because when we bought the mortgage company, it was called Platinum Mortgage. That's when the mortgage industry failed. Yeah, it failed, and that was a flop. I mean, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what I want to say is, people always look at you and they see the successes, but they don't realize the failures and what you've done. I've made millions, I've lost millions, you know? But I think your first million is the hardest to make. You know what I'm saying? Once you made your first million, you know you can do it again. And basically, in 2000, I don't even remember what year it was 8 years ago, we became a part of a reality TV show. And I remember talking about the reality TV show, and initially I did not want to do it. I had 7 practices at the time, and I was saying I didn't know how it was going to affect business. I did not watch reality TV, but I knew what it was, and I thought it was a negative stigma. And I had a lot of my colleagues say, don't do it. They said, no, it's not a good look, it's not worth it, whatever. And I know I had the conversation with my husband, so the first year I turned it down. I mean, I never cast it for the show, mainly because I didn't, you know, but I never cast it for the show the first year because I didn't want it to affect my businesses. The second year, the production company called me at my office and they were saying, why not? And I told them it was my business. I didn't want it to affect my business. And they told me, well, talk to Dr. Jackie. And I called Dr. Jackie, didn't know her from Adam Ant, called her. She was always kind, professional, and she said it had increased her business. So from there, I talked to my husband and he told me to do it. Had he said not to do it, I would have never been a part of reality TV. He said I thought I would be good at it, and I had thick skin, and I had a quick mouth, and I talk all the time. I guess that's what he was trying to say, that I talk too much, and I think I could do it on TV. So lo and behold, we did reality TV, and I have no regrets. There are times on TV that I cringe on some of the things I've said and some of the things I've done, but for the most part, I'm proud of the person I've become. I've got to see myself outside of myself, which a lot of people don't get to see, and see how you can make yourself better. And I think I've grown every year. I think Damon has grown every year. We both have. But I appreciate you supporting me in that, because I know you didn't have any interest in doing it for yourself, but you thought enough of me to allow me to be a part of reality TV. And also the first year, you know, it wasn't anything tangible in my mind, but you know, I've always had a business mind, and I thought, hey, if they got over 2 million people watching them, what can I do with that platform, you know? And that's one of the things I do not understand about reality TV, that some people will come in and not utilize that platform. I mean, the friends that I hang around, Dr. Contessa, Dr. Jackie, myself, they utilize the platform to start new businesses. Contessa has her new practice. Jackie has all kind of businesses, and I've been able to develop a lot of businesses, including build my dental practice up and trademark the name Heavenly Smile in a Day, where we do full arch dental and dental implants, full arch dental implants. And we've been able to actually change my practice over time from Medicaid office, which we learned to serve the underserved, and I give back in other ways, to go from that all the way to now, I'm a complete cosmetic dentist. We do not take insurance. We do only cosmetic stuff, and it's been a blessing that I've been able to take my time and go from working 6 days a week to now working 3 days a week, only seeing cash and insurance, so I can give back in other ways. And another business we just recently started was Heavenly Beauty. I started by looking at some boss ladies who said that the beauty industry was a multi-billion-dollar industry, and then my daughter, who buys beauty supplies all the time, she buys them, and even in the pandemic, I saw that this was a viable business that did not fail in the pandemic, so I thought it was a great business. So Heavenly Beauty, ATL.com is coming really, really soon. I found my brick and mortar, we're putting it together. I already sell beauty supplies online at heavenlybeautyatl.com, but we've just been so blessed. But I think that we, as a humble couple, I don't think we've ever really talked about our business successes. We actually talk about and probably dwell on our failures more so than anything, because those are the things that stick. But when we look back on all the accomplishments we have to say, wow, we've done a lot. Dr. Damon being a pain management doctor on his surgical center, his personal injury, his COVID testing, mobile COVID testing, and now his dispensary for You say not marijuana, it's called what?
Yeah, you can call it marijuana.
Okay, it's TH
yeah,
what?
I didn't want to say it's like a.
I ain't smoking
I
it.
think what you said something different, but I wanted
said
to make sure it's a
marijuana because that's what I thought it was.
It's not like a store. It's more like a dispensary.
Oh, a marijuana store. Okay,
It's
no.
not a store.
It's a dispensary he sell. No.
I mean, the reason I think marijuana has some medical benefits. I do. I think it has some social and pleasurable benefits that people like, and I don't think that it's something that's horrible. I think it's just if you really look back at the history of marijuana, you would see that it was something directed towards blacks and Hispanics and Mexicans, and specifically the word marijuana, I believe, is a Hispanic word. So the connotation was black people and Mexican people use this stuff and it's really bad and it makes people go crazy and people do bad things and and that was just
not
the
true.
thought, and then now things have changed and a lot of people, and they did studies years ago and found out that all of that wasn't true, but that just wasn't publicized as much. And now people are starting to change. And I think that for us, it just goes along with our normal, the ways that we act in terms of business. If we see an opportunity and it's something viable for us, then we can go for it. The thing that I'm really focused on right now is expanding our personal injury practice and getting some new locations. That's what I'm looking at.
So when is enough, doctor? I mean, we talk about building up a mogul. When is enough enough?
That was the thing I was going to say. That is one of my flaws. I don't know if I have a switch. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can even gauge my own success because I still feel the exact same as we were in school. Hungry, ready to make it, not going to take no for an answer. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I think that.
I'm 50, but I still feel, I don't know. I don't think there's an off switch. And I think some people, that is just the way it is. I think for athletes, it's like that. All these guys that are retiring, and look at Mike Tyson. He would, if he could go back in time or have the same, he would do it all over. He's a fighter. There's people who, we're all fighters that are entrepreneurs. And he's doing marijuana dispensaries and a whole lot of other stuff as well. So I just think that there's some people out there that are just going to go for it. But the key is everybody can do that. If you want to do something enough, you can do it. It's not all about being smart either. Some people say, oh, you can only be a doctor if you're really great at school. No, you can be a doctor if you're willing to sit down and study for 8 hours.
Some people can't be no doctor now, Damon. I'm just gonna put that out there because I done seen too many people try and they just could not do it. So you have to give credit where credit is due. Not everybody can be a physician. There's people out there that's tried that cannot do it, cannot physically do it.
A brain injury or some limitations.
No brain injury. Some people are just not smart enough.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Okay,
I don't even agree with smart. I think, I do agree with that because there is an innate ability to learn something
Everybody's not capable of accomplishing what you've accomplished. Some people can't pass all them boards. Them shits is hard.
But the thing is, I don't know if that's true. And the reason why I say that is because it's all about what you believe. When I was in second grade, first going to second grade, I almost failed. They were going to fail me first grade. They said I was mentally slow and all kinds of other stuff. I didn't feel like I was slow, but the teacher said that. So me and my mom were walking out of the school after we had a fight on our hands, but we were able to get me to pass. But I asked her, am I slow? And she said no. And that was it. If she said yes, then,
or hesitated.
Yeah, then I would have been one of those people that you're saying can't do it. It's all about what you believe. If your mind is enough where you could learn something, it really comes down to that. Are you willing to work hard enough? Are you going to sit there for 8 hours and study all day? Are you going to be studying when your friends are drinking and having parties? And are you going to restrict yourself and say, no, I got to get this done? So sometimes I think that's what's hard. Effort goes a long way.
What keeps you humble? What keeps you grounded?
God. Because God can say, you're not learning that I've blessed you and had grace on you, so I'm going to take a few things away, or maybe more, so that you do. I don't want to be Job. I don't want to be Noah and have to take my family and do something no one else has done, but I would do that. But I don't want to learn those lessons. So I don't want to brag about things. We've got some beautiful blessings, but I will never get out and brag because that's just not me. You know, I don't want to lose it. We have beautiful kids. I want them to be able to have the resources that they need. And for us, I mean, we're older. We gotta be smart because, you know, we're not gonna be doing this at 80, you know? So we gotta make the right choices now. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna remain humble because I wanna keep what I have. I don't wanna lose everything. I think when people start, you know, letting negativity come in their lives, when they start, you know, thinking that they're better than other people or they're on a pedestal or something like that, reality TV has not changed me. You know, it hasn't changed you. We're the same people. Now, people will look at you differently because what they see and what you see when you look in the mirror are just two different things. But I'm still a humble guy that's willing to help people and work as hard as I can and be an inspiration. And anybody listening to what we're talking about today, listen, if you have something in your mind that you want to get done, do it. The people that are around you to tell you can't, get away from them. Don't discuss your ideas with them. If someone makes you feel like after you talk to them, you're now second guessing what you're gonna do, never speak to them about that again. Why? Why would you? Talk to people who make you feel like you can go get it. Make you feel like you're more than a conqueror, you know? When Heavenly brings me a new idea or something, I don't believe I've ever said, you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you bring me a business idea, I look at it, I think about it, and I try to be practical and think in the minds of people. You know what I mean? And if it's going to be an easy sale, if it's going to be hard sale, because every business comes through with risk, a lot of risk, in fact. And we know we've had our share of failures. We've had a record label that was not a failure. We had a staffing company that was a failure. I've had, like I say, the mortgage company was a failure. I tried a dating app, which was a failure. So it has to be a shoe-in before we even think about doing it because it's still risk in that. So if Damon comes in and he has an idea that I think
there is no shoe-ins.
Right, we're not. No. But in your mind, it has to be the least amount of.
But the thing you're thinking about that we didn't talk about, you never really heard the whole idea.
But I had enough of it.
Well, you thought you had enough.
Okay.
The thing about it is, if you're a good listener, let people finish. Finish the. Don't get smart.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm saying that's one of my flaws. I don't listen. I talk
Okay.
too
Well, I'm
much.
saying let people finish. Because if you don't get the whole idea, you could miss something. You're talking about a shoe-in. You could miss the shoe-in because you never really heard the whole idea. But no one knows the shoe-in. When something's new, it's just new. You know, COVID's new. You know, none of us were really built for this. We were not built for something to shut down the whole world. But we had to adjust.
But we look for industries that have sustained, which is i.e. medicine, i.e. dentistry, i.e. beauty supply. People getting their beauty supply, regardless, is certain businesses that could not sustain. So my whole purpose in doing all of this is to get in the mind of a business mogul. And I think Damon and I are that, business moguls, and how we think. And first and foremost, we give all credit to God. We have to say that we actually consult God with everything. And in this last business venture, which kind of strange to me, one of my prayer warriors told me not to do a certain business. And I thought about it and I prayed about it long and hard. And Damon told me that if God didn't want me to do something, he would tell me directly. But then, shoot, why am I consulting a prayer warrior? Because every other time they told me to go for it. But I think that if God did not want me to do something, he would stop me in my tracks. We've been very humble and we are thankful for all of our life lessons, our failures and our successes. And we're just excited to be chosen for this documentary, The Mind of a Mogul, Mind of a Business Mogul. And we've been included in a lot of magazines and different things like that. So we just wanted to give you a little part of ourselves and explain to you how we did what we did and just tell you our story, a little bit of our story.